television and racing. We are going to have so much fun in the next 45 minutes. So settle back, grab something that you enjoy, and get ready to go racing. What a beautiful part of the world we find ourselves in this weekend as we welcome you again to the Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. We're at the Chevrolet Grand Prix at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. The first of two 45-minute races. A phenomenal grid of 31 cars sitting tails into the wall in echelon formation, ready to go racing. Hello everybody, I'm John Hindorf. It's warm. Well, it's warm for the Michelin tyres. Track temperature has dropped down to 45 Celsius, 113 Fahrenheit. It was 10 degrees Fahrenheit higher than that just around about an hour ago, tickling 50 Celsius. In the air, it's fairly temperate. 26 Celsius is 79 or thereabouts Fahrenheit. And for those of you tuning in from the United Kingdom, you might be thinking, I wish it was only 26 at the moment. Yeah, well, it's pretty perfect to go racing here. The circuit itself is an absolute classic. Just around, as I say, 2.5 miles. It is 10 corners around, and it sits just outside the town of Bowmanville, Ontario. It's compact, but it follows the geography and the topography of the local area, and it's been testing drivers, engineers, tyre manufacturers and car manufacturers for a very long time, both on 2 and 4 wheels. Turn 5's been the action area that we've been watching in the early part of the week, but actually every corner is an action area when it comes down to Mazda MX-5 and the Whelen MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. As the cars roll off, I'll say welcome to you all around the world. Joining me in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre is Shea Adam. Drama on the grid because a couple of drivers were pinged for driving too slow and lost their fastest 2 laps. Massimo Sanseri, one of them. The other one, more significant, Bobby Gossett, who'd been one of the fastest drivers all week. So let's quickly have a look at your Mazda starting grid. Damon Oki at the back of the field in 31st position. On the outside of row number 15, Brian Dombrowski for Rocksteady Racing has Ryan Leach, one of the many rookies. In fact, they're both rookies, half the field rookies this year. Spark Performance in 29th. In 28th position, Carlton McFarlane, another one of the rookies. McCumbee McAleer Racing and Parker DeLong Racing. Charlotte Trainer, another one of the rookies. In 20, it would be better just for me to tell you who's not the rookies, really, wouldn't it? In 27th position, Christian Hodland, not a rookie for BSI, and Massimo Sanseri, also a BSI racing driver, in 25th position. Justin Gravitt is another one of the rookies. JTR Motorsport Racing on the outside of row 12. On the inside of row 12 is Aidan Shimbashi for Hendricks Motorsport, another one of the rookies. Gresham Wagner down in 22nd position for JTR Motorsport Engineering with Ellie Gossett, another one of the rookies for BSI Racing in the number 77. On the 10th row of the grid, Glenn McGee for JTR Motorsport Engineering has his teammate John Solano, another one of the rookies, alongside him in the 34 car. Max Stallone and Logan Stretch, both rookies, both from Wheels America Racing, 3 and 98 then on positions 18 and 17. Von Mishko for Advanced Autosports and Spark Performance, Frankie Barroso, another pair of rookies in 16th and 15th. And another row full of rookies is row number 7 with Ethan Jacobs and Cam Eben for JTH and Advanced Autosports. McCumbee McAleer Racing, Marcello Paniccia is alongside Parker DeLong on 12th and 11th. In 10th, Noah Harmon. 9th, Jared Thomas. 8th, Bobby Gossett, after losing 2 laps. Julian de Costeris, BSI teammates alongside him. Elio Mesa, also BSI, and Jeremy Fletcher on row 3. Row 2 is Ethan Lampert and Justin Adakonis, Nathan Nicholson and Matt Novak for Advanced Autosports. Locking out the front row, Matt Novak, another one of the rookies. 45 minutes on the clock, the green flag is in the air, and we go to the first corner, and I'm holding my breath because they are 2 wide and 31 deep. It is absolutely incredible, spreading out to 3 wide, going over at the top of the rise down to Clayton Corner at turn 2, and somehow everybody survived. I'm looking back through the field. I think, Shea Adam, that all 31 cars are actually still there and still racing. Tremendous start.
It was very, very clean start from all of our competitors. You mentioned more than half the field rookies to this championship, not necessarily to these cars and this championship in the form of Marcello Panicia. He ran here last year in the series in these cars, but for all the rest of them, uncharted territory. There were 2 days of testing earlier in the week. On Monday and Tuesday, as a piece of bodywork goes flying at the exit of Moss Corner. That looks like maybe a wheel cover, nothing to be too concerned about. But the worst off from the testing, Brian Dombrowski in car number 40 for Rocksteady Racing. He needed a new front bumper. John, he asked the fans to help him put a new livery on it. He brought out ink pens and had people sign it. So the front of that car was the only one that wound up worse off in the testing. Everybody's still being clean, but Bobby Gossett is chasing his way to the front. John, this morning, he went almost half a second faster than the existing qualifying lap record. We know the 44 can get to the point.
So coming through to the end of the first lap, it's Nathan Nicholson who is leading from Ethan Lampy and Bobby Gossett as they go through. Then Justin Adakonis into the pit lane early for Gresham Wagner, into the lane for JTR, and that is not the start that he needed. But Nathan Nicholson's done a great start. Ethan Lampy, credit to Ethan Lampy, started on the front row of the grid, Shea, and he's held on to that. But Bobby Gossett, having lost those 2 laps for an unusual penalty, driving too slowly. It's something we see if you follow motorcycling, Moto 3 in particular. There's a minimum lap time so that you're not getting in the way of anybody trying to qualify, and that's what Bobby Gossett fell foul of today.
Yeah, and for Bobby, it was really cruel because he had done so well in qualifying. But yes, you're not allowed to exceed that minimum time, and he had. This is a flat tire for Gresham Wagner after contact in the front of his car, the left front Michelin being punctured. But it has been a difficult weekend so far for Gresham Wagner. Limited running during the FP1. They had to put a new diff in the car between FP1 and 2. They did that, but the diff didn't quite loosen up enough, so he was still losing pace in qualifying. Qualified back in 20 plus. As far as we are concerned, that is not where Gresham Wagner should be, and now he is about to lose a lap as it is Ethan Lampy who is fighting with Nathan Nicholson for the lead, and Lampy has taken it. Ethan Lampy leads lap number 2 for Hendricks Motorsport as Ethan has changed teams in the period of time we've had between Mid-Ohio and running here at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.
Fastest lap of the race for Elio Mesa in 3rd place, one of 2 BSI racing drivers in the top 3. Bobby Gossett, of course, right ahead of him is the other one in the black car, pushing really hard. Ethan Lambert leads out from Bobby Gossett. Then it's Elio Mesa just about holding on in the yellow car behind. And Jeremy Fletcher leads a pair of McCumbee McAleer Racing, and it's going to be a retirement for Gresham Wagner. He's out of the car. It was front suspension damage, you could see quite clearly, and he's not happy. The gloves have been thrown into the car. Don't throw your helmet. Don't throw your helmet. Oh, he's thrown his helmet. That is not a great behaviour from Gresham Wagner. I know he's frustrated. He's not happy at all. Now, the question for me, Shea, is would that be... That helmet can't be used again, by the way. That's going to cost him about 1,500 bucks. whether that was a mechanical issue or whether there was contact, I think it looked like there was contact on the left front of that number 5 JTR car.
There was other colored paint on the front of that car besides black. That's all I'll say, whether someone checked up in front of Gresham, because Gresham is not the kind of aggressive driver to get into others just for fun. He's somebody who's a very erudite human being. He's a very smart driver, so that does not seem typical for Gresham Wagner, and neither does the response, to that credit. But we don't know, John. He threw his helmet at St. Pete many years ago, and it actually only cracked the visor. It didn't do any damage to it, so hopefully that's the situation again. But a driver who's having a terrible go of it so far is Nathan Nicholson. He has dropped back significantly over the course of this lap, and now he is fighting with Parker DeLong and Julian DaCosta to try and stay involved with the leading pack. But Ethan Lampe out front, his tail gunner, Bobby Gossett, the guy who set the fastest lap time earlier on in the day. And then the next car back, Jeremy Fletcher, the champion from last year, looking for his 3rd win on the season with Elio Meza, as you say. Fastest lap of the race went to him until the last time around when Ethan Lampe took it back. Elio Meza has not been in our series this year. He has not run a Mazda MX-5 Cup Championship race since winning Rookie of the Year at Road Atlanta last year. So we welcome back Elio Meza, who in the meantime has decided to go off and run in a different championship, and he is the Trans Am points lead as there is smoke coming out of Matt Novak's car now. No, what is going on?
Top 23 set their fastest laps of the race last time around. As they come to the line this time, it will be Bobby Gossett for BSI in the black car, who is scored as the leader, and he takes the fastest lap for a moment. But Jared Thomas down in 6th for JTR Motorsport takes that as he's in the line. Try not to get too excited about this at the moment. I know that this is extraordinary racing, but we've got 38.5 minutes still to go. At the front, it's BSI, Hendricks, McCumbee, BSI, McCumbee, JTR, McCumbee. Are you seeing a pattern here? Advanced Autosports, Parker DeLong Racing, and BSI in the top 10. What those top drivers will be trying to do, and they haven't really knuckled down to it yet, but it's starting to happen now. It is starting to happen now. They have stopped fighting each other. Bobby Gossett has got to the front, and he will set a pace. And basically what he's saying to everyone else is, drop in behind me. We can go faster as a group than we can side by side. There's a lot of drafting, slipstreaming opportunity here, and these cars put a big hole in the air over top with the FIA roll cage sitting out in the airfloor. They'll try and break away, make that top 10 a top 6, make that top 6 a top 4, and then in the last 10 minutes or so, well, at that point, all bets are off. But right now, what they don't need here, Adam, is 15 or 20 cars battling for the lead. And right now, it's about the top 8 who are still together, maybe the top 10 as they go across the line. But as soon as they get side by side as they're doing now, they're going to slow each other down.
And they invite more people to come and play and battle for the lead, and that is exactly what the leaders do not want. So sorry for this sharp intake of breath a few moments ago, but we had not one but 2 cars going completely sideways as they lined up for turn 10 because somebody decided to just give them a slight little tap from behind and loosen them up a teeny tiny little bit, which is fine because we have 36 minutes and 40 seconds to go. That would not be fine if it were for the end of the race, and race control actually having a little bit of a sit-down chat with all of our drivers in the driver meeting earlier, John. They pointed out we have had 38 penalties issued so far this year in 6 races, and those have been given to 27 different drivers. So we have had a lot of penalties given, but at least it has been a lot of different people causing the infractions and not so many repeat offenders. But race control also said if you do become a repeat offender, the penalties are going to start being more severe. So everybody play nicely together. That was the message from earlier on. Right now, everybody is playing nicely together. When it comes down to it, for the win at CTMP, yeah, then it could be a different story.
Talking to Jonathan Applegate on Midweek Motorsport on Wednesday. In fact, he was a big interview at approximately halfway through the 2026 Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin season, and said to him, this track might have been specifically designed for Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup presented by Michelin. We have never had a bad race in the original iteration of MX-5 Global Cup, as it was called then, when I seem to remember you and I standing in the old press. In fact, we weren't even in the press centre because it didn't exist. We were in our porter cabin, and I had a pair of binoculars to see them going away from us, and we did old-fashioned radio commentary because we didn't even have full camera coverage of this series in those days. But it's always turned out fantastic racing, and I think it's just the mixture of the rise and fall, the width of the track. There's not a huge amount of heavy braking areas here, so it's about momentum, and the best drivers in Whelen MX-5 Cup know all about momentum, Shay.
It's one of the dark arts that you have to learn in order to be a championship contender, perhaps even a championship winner. You talk about some of the greats in NASCAR, like Dale Earnhardt being able to see the air move in Daytona. You talk about the greats in this series learning how to master momentum, and it's really a lot of the same thing. As Julian DaCosta almost went for a little bit of a ride there as he got loosened up by Noah Harmon, another driver who comes back to the series after not running a full season with us this year. He was second in Rookie of the Year standings last year, driving for Hendricks Motorsport once again, with whom he won at Daytona, the first race of the season. Victory went the way of Noah Harmon, and he is back in that number 12 machine, sponsored by Cube 3. And I do just want to give a shout out to a sponsor with Cube 3, Nick. We miss you, man. He's been to the track for all of Noah's races over the last 5 years, ever since he became a sponsor. This is the third race that he has missed, and he's having a little bit of a health issue, but he's watching on at home and cheering on his driver. And Noah has been doing a great job so far this weekend, and he's especially meaningful because Noah is also partially Canadian. His dad, Gordon, from this part of the world, so a win in CTMP, that would mean a lot to him too.
Championship leader Justin Adakonis with the fastest lap at the moment in his McCumbee McAleer Racing. Number 23 sits in 4th place for now. I was about to say a moment or two ago the top 4 or 5 are getting away, and the moment the thought even went through my head, we've immediately got 2 more cars closing up. Whelen Mazda and Jared Thomas coming back towards the top 5, and all of a sudden it's back to be the top 7 again. Jared Thomas is in the red and white car with the yellow rollover cage. Behind him there's a tiny gap to Nathan Nicholson, who did drop back earlier on, but now he's pulling Parker DeLong in the light blue car. Yes, it is, as they come to the line. And Parker DeLong with the fastest lap last time around. Then there's a wee gap, but I'm talking half a second, no more, to Julian DaCosta, who makes up the top 10. None of these cars are out of the fight. We've just coming down to the first 15 minutes of the 45. Kind of think of this race broken up into thirds. As little mistake, was it there, from Bobby Gossett? Just went wide into the uphill Quebec corner, and for a moment he was headed, and the Whelen car will go through. Yes, it goes through. Ethan Lampert for Hendricks Motorsport. Now the problem here for Bobby is he's hung out on the outside at Moss Corner, and he could lose a lot of... Oh, lovely. That was outstanding driving by Bobby Gossett. He could have been out on the clothesline and lost a whole heap of places. He just eased himself back in behind the red leading car, and all of a sudden they've just broken away by 2 car lengths, shit.
Don't worry, it'll all come back together before long. The leading pack is now 9 cars, as it has been up from the 7, with Parker DeLong and Nathan Nicholson joining into this leading fun. But yes, Ethan Lampy leading another lap. He's now led 3. Jeremy Fletcher's led 3. Bobby Gossett on 2 and Nathan Nicholson on 1. Why do I mention laps led? Bonus points, 10 points awarded to the car who leads the most laps during the race. Points convert to championship points, which converts to money at the end of the season, $250,000 cash.
What sort of money?
real cash money. There you go.
Thank you.
250 grand for the champion, 80 grand for Rookie of the Year, and oh, by the way, it pays all the way down to 10th, as we did get a message on the timing screen a moment ago that I do need to point out, and I'm very sorry to say, Gresham Wagner was not the perpetrator, but the victim of some on-track activity. It was Aiden Shimbazi, and Aiden has been deemed at fault for that contact. So the driver of the number 21 machine for Hendricks will be serving a time penalty post-race of 10 seconds. If we stay green, it could be not as bad as if we go to yellow. So let's hope for a nice clean green race.
Jonathan Main at IMSA Radio. Hello, John. Hello, Johnny. He says, Mazda MX-5, magnificent. My brain is questioning whether this is real or if it's AI. How are they all as one angry, buzzing pack, lap after lap? I promise you, this is real. And if you get the chance to go and see it trackside, you notice this is the end of the day. Nobody's moved from trackside. All of the major championships, they will be watching this. Even the guys packing up from Pilot Challenge earlier on today, they'll take a break and watch what's going on here. The WeatherTech guys, they could have been away after they're qualified. They won't be. They'll be trackside or watching in the various hospitality and team catering areas around the circuit. Hello to everybody at Apex. Nice to know that you're tuned in there as well. So it's Lampe still leading from Bobby Gossett, 1:33 flat. Around 90 seconds round here in a car that only has 180 horsepower. All the engines are sealed. They are absolutely standard road car 2-litre Mazda MX-5 engines. The cars come in from Japan into the US. Then Fliss Performance, the Fliss brothers take the cars, they strip them down, and the engines are sealed. And I always say the engines are taken out of the car and put in the corner. The engines actually don't come out of the car. The engines stay in the car, but they are sealed. And a new gearbox, a new racing gearbox put in there from Sadev, which is sequential. Still a 3-pedal car, although you can flat shift and change down without necessarily having to blip, although some drivers prefer that. And then all of the racing safety equipment goes in as well, including an FIA rollover cage, the fire suppression system, racing wheels, racing seat, racing dashboard, racing steering wheel, over 250 specific racing parts. And then the car rolls back out in pristine white. Other colours are available and you can wrap them. And that is why this racing is so good. One preparer, one car, one set of regulations, and an engine that is taken directly from the street car. No additional tuning allowed. And if you know anything about Mazda, you know their reputation for road car reliability. And even though these 2-litre, 180 horsepower, 4-cylinder inline engines, normally aspirated of course, are thrashed within an inch of their life, I think I can probably count, Shea Adams, since you and I have been doing this, which is quite a long time and more than we'd like to admit, I cannot remember more than 2 or 3 engine issues. Never mind engine failures. Certainly I could count them on the fingers of one hand. The engines last a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons, and, because they are just the road car engines. They're being revved, but that's what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah, and knock on wood that we don't see any more of that. We do tend to have them occasionally in practice when perhaps the teams don't run enough oil in them, but that's not a reliability issue. That is a human error. That's not a fault with the team. That's a fault with the car and the machinery itself. As Ethan Lampe leads yet another lap. He is up to 6 laps led, clearly very happy with his new team running over with Hendricks. And the most interesting thing to me, you mentioned it a few minutes ago, the fact that we have Hendricks leading BSI, leading McCumbee McAleer, leading JTR. Diversity at the head of the field for this race. What a beautiful thing to see.
Then two more McCumbee McAleer Racing cars, then another BSI, but then Parker DeLong Racing and Parker himself there before another BSI. And Advanced Autosports, they've been coming along with increased entries. Nathan Nicholson for Advanced, the best of their runners at the moment. Advanced in 10th position there, also in 15th and 16th with Cam Eben and Vaughan Mishko, a couple of rookies there. We have a number of these, what we call super teams, where they bring along an increased number of cars, it seems, almost every round, sharing the data as well between them. Still the number 31 Whelen Sunoco car leading. Bobby Gossett just getting bumped out a second. Side-by-side contact as Jared Thomas comes up from 4th and into 2nd. Still side-by-side behind him. Big slide for Justin Adakonis in the blue and yellow car. And he just about gets through that. Just thrown up by the Michelin tyres on the left-hand side of Bobby Gossett. He's going to lose one more position here down the inside. Jeremy Fletcher's right there in the light blue, number 22. And that's three McCumbee McAleer Racing cars running together there. Now, can they work together? Because that might be the answer. What have we got there, Shay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 still. 8 cars back to Parker DeLong, and off has gone Carlton McFarlane in the McCumbee McAleer Racing, number 51, proudly displaying the Canadian flag. And that is coming... Is that coming into the pit lane? It is. Yes, he's lost that coming through turn 9. The witness marks on the road would suggest that he's come across the yellow cross hatching. We're still green. Now we go yellow. Now, was that pass completed before the yellow? We've seen that being very, very important. Double yellows are out, and we will see the safety car with 23 minutes to go. We're almost exactly halfway through the race, and the new for 2026 AMR safety truck, the Ford F-150 Raptor, is on the scene. Carlton has backed that car in pretty heavily. I suspect, Shay, that he lost that coming out of the end of the S's at turn 9.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate to see Carlton McFarlane, a young man out of Alberta. He and his whole family coming over to make his championship debut this weekend, running with McCumbee McAleer, a team that he's been very familiar with for a long time and actually runs with in another championship. He was being coached by a guy that you and I are pretty close with, John, Jensen Altzman. A very nice young man who's got a lot of experience in these cars too, and a really good coach.
Oh yeah.
But for Carlton, it's been a steep learning curve to try and figure out how different these cars are to, say, the Spec MX cars or a Mustang that he's been driving in another series. It's a very different piece of machinery, and I'm really sad to see his weekend ending this way. Just glad to see that he is moving around in the car and that the safety team is working to try and help get him out, because of course he's wedged in there. The door can't open. He's having to come out the roof.
But also he did exactly the right thing. He held his position and waited for the safety car to get there. Whenever you have an incident, you get annoyed, particularly if it's happened to yourself and you've done it yourself. You get annoyed, you want to get out, you want to see what's happened, but you must stay in the car. It is the safest place for you. It would have been difficult for him to open the door. The good news is, it's having an open roof. These cars are very easy to enter and exit, even for people like me who aren't particularly lithe and bendy. It's the easiest race car to get in and out. I've raced them here in the UK. Had a go in one of the Cup cars a few years ago before they got the sequential box. One of my most enjoyable races ever was in the Race of Remembrance in MX-5, even though it had no power steering by the time I got into it, around Anglesey, which is tight and twisty. Trust me, an hour and 5 minutes stint in that with no power steering, and my upper body was somewhat pumped. If only I could do that kind of workout every day, be in much better shape. He did the right thing, stayed in the car. AMR safety crew doing their job, and thanks to not only our AMR safety crew, but all of the corner workers, marshals, volunteers here at CTMP this weekend. Whether they're helping you park the cars, showing you the right spot to go with your RV, getting you into the hospitality suites, or indeed waving flags at the marshals' points, corner workers' points around the circuit. We cannot exist in motorsport without an army of those in white, as it is in the States, and orange around the rest of the world. So right in the middle of the season here, August, at the end of August, we go to VIR, another track that could have been built for Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup, presented by Michelin. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, we've had some great races there in the past. The tradition dictates that we end at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta, 2.56 miles at the Motul Petit Le Mans weekend. And if you're a regular viewer or listener, you'll know we've said this before, but literally one place, two places, a fastest lap, the most laps led, somebody else getting a penalty who's not in the championship fight. All of those things, Shea Adam, have decided the championship in the past. We're not making it up. It will probably again this year go down to the last few laps.
And to think, at the end of this race, in 20 minutes time, we are only halfway through the season is remarkable. Now, we come into this race, Justin Adakonis has a 250-point advantage over this man, Jared Thomas, P2, again. He is currently second on the racetrack. He has finished second in 3 out of the last 4 races. He's finished second at this track back in 2024. Never won here north of the border. So Jared Thomas is looking not only to try and get a win here because he wants to win this race, but because he's sick of finishing second, and that's gotten him to second in the championship. But again, Jared Thomas, 2-time champion, he wants to be the first person ever to win 3.
I would have lost money that he'd not won here before. You just think of Jared, frankly, winning everywhere, don't you? No pit stops here, no need. So the drivers will just follow around. A little bit of damage to the nose of the JTR number 96 with that bright yellow. He's staying out of the slipstream of everybody else, weaving left and right to keep heat in the tyres, in the Michelin tyres. He does risk getting a bit of pickup on the tyres. Maybe he's already got pickup on there now, and actually that's why he's trying to go offline, so that he's not weaving right in front of Justin Adakonis, who's nicely worked his way up into 3rd position. He is the championship leader, as you've heard Shay just mention, in a very distinctive yellow and blue livery for McCumbee McAleer Racing. Top 4 drivers from 4 different teams, 4 of the big teams: Hendricks, JTR, McCumbee McAleer, BSI, then Jeremy Fletcher and Marcello Panicia from McCumbee McAleer, then BSI, Elio Meza, Parker DeLong still in the top 10. It's a good run from Parker. In the number 42, Julian DaCosta for BSI, Noah Harmon in the top 10 for the second of the Hendricks cars. Ethan Jacobs, mentioned JDH Racing as well, one of the smaller teams, but 11th position for Ethan. Then Nathan Nicholson, Advanced Autosport, Wheels America, Logan Stretch in 15th position. Actually, I just jumped past Frankie Barroso and Cam Eben there, my apologies. Vaughan Mishko in 16th position, John Salerno 17th, Glenn McGee 18th, and the top 10 made up by Max Stallone and Justin Gravitt. Awful lot of rookies in there. I mentioned this earlier on, Shay. Nearly, in fact, no, it is half of the field this year for most of the races are rookies. That is a testament to new talent wanting to come in. Talk to Jonathan Applegate about that on Wednesday. If we get a chance, we'll talk a little bit more about a little bit of intel that he gave us about the schedule for next year as well, which is due to be released shortly. But we're going back to green with 15, call it 16 minutes on the clock. Ethan Lampy comes through for Hendricks in the bright red car. Here comes Jared Thomas, pushed to the inside by the blue and yellow Justin Adakonis McCumbee McAleer Racing car. But there, as you were, oh, but the 2 leaders go a little bit wide. Now it's side by side. The 23 of Justin Adakonis for a moment pulled out into the clean air, but immediately drops back, and he knows he has to do that because at the restart here, the last thing you want to be doing is going side by side at the front of the field and allowing more cars to get closer to the front.
If you go side by side on the restart, you're going to be going back before too much longer, because other people are going to figure out how to get around you. Race Control was investigating a moment between Nathan Nicholson and Ethan Jacobs. They have now issued a warning for Nathan and incident responsibility. So interesting to see that something clearly went down between the purple car of Ethan Jacobs, who has been super fast all weekend. I should mention their team, JDH Racing, only running the one car this weekend for Ethan. Dad Ben sitting out this weekend, putting all the focus on young Ethan, and he has been delivering. But there must have been some moment where Nathan Nicholson just didn't leave enough room for Ethan Jacobs. And wow, speaking of not leaving a ton of room, Jared Thomas decides to not leave a ton of room. He retakes second place, and in a beautiful pass, actually goes around Gossett and Adakonis going into turn 8.
Yeah, 2 for 1 there at the end of the Mario Andretti straight that is anything but straight, slightly curving mostly to the right. A couple of rises and falls there as well. Outside pass at turn 8, heading at the S's. Always spectacular in these cars. We had 3 wide there last time around, and now we've got Bobby Gossett trying to make it 3 wide. He's got Jeremy Fletcher on his left, right ahead of him, Justin Adakonis, and the white car coming down the inside, getting very, very sideways, almost making a huge incident there, but holding on to it, very, very fast hands. That could almost have been disastrous, as Nathan Nicholson, who was dropping back, he's getting a new right front Michelin tyre in the pit lane. It's going to drop him down. He's going to need another safety car to get back in the fight.
Yeah, 13 minutes and 20 seconds to go. That is highly unlikely for Nathan, but he is going back out on the track. Remember also, the fastest lap time that you set in this race, if it's faster than qualifying, betters potentially your starting position for race number 2. So there is a lot to gain from Nathan Nicholson going back out and pushing as hard as he can, as he is now being registered in P28. Ethan Lampy has now led 12 laps, and with just under 13 minutes to go, I'm going to give him the bonus points for most laps led.
All right, okay. The best laps here, high 32s, low 33s. In qualifying, they were doing mid 31s into the 32s. The track conditions, and particularly the track temperature here, I just don't think is conducive to people unless you had an absolute nightmare in qualifying. And there'll have been 1 or 2, maybe Damon Otley actually. I'll check his time. Yeah, he's gone faster, 33.9, and he did a 34.4 in qualifying. So he may well be moving up from his lowly starting position. The other driver who I thought was further down than perhaps I was expecting. Let's check a couple of those. No, they're all around about the same time, or a bit slower in this race. Fastest lap of the race belongs to Parker DeLong of Parker DeLong Racing, PDR. Still well inside the top 10 at 8 with a 32.6, and a 32.6 for this race would have put him down in 24th position. That's what he'd have got for that. So I don't think there's that many people improving from their second best times in the qualifying session earlier on today. Parker DeLong down the inside of Marcello Paniccia there and taking the position. It was Marcello who was getting very squirrely at the bottom of the hill at Clayton Corner a lap or 2 ago in that almost pristine white car. And that was a good save by Marcello, and there would have been a few people behind him who were wondering whether to lift off, brake, or just close their eyes. DeLong then from Fletcher, from Bobby Gossett, from Jared Thomas in terms of the lap times, but nothing between them. and Ethan Lampert still leading out from Jared Thomas, and those two have hooked up now. Jeremy Fletcher trying to close the gap. He doesn't like the idea of Jared Thomas and Ethan Lampert pulling away from him.
And we are now with 10.5 minutes to go in a position where I can say, can someone please go check on Dara and Brian Lampy, make sure that they are okay, because their son leading a race, and he's got a competitive car, as Bobby Gossett and Jeremy Fletcher do not like the fact, Don, that we've pointed out that the lap times are not as quick as qualifying, and they are trying to go even faster. Purple sector 1 the last time around from Jeremy Fletcher. All right, kid, let's see what you got in that number 22 machine. It's go time, as Ethan Jacobs looks to be going slowly down the Andretti straight. Hope everything's okay with that 99 machine.
Yeah, dropping. Is he dropping down? He is. Let's see if we can work out what's going on. We've seen this before with rookies leading, and the key thing is here, look at who's behind him. Jared Thomas, Jeremy Fletcher, Bobby Gossett, Justin Adakonis. So you've got a couple of champions there, many times pole sitter, and the current championship leader sitting behind him. The measure of Ethan Lampert is not that he's leading now, but where will he finish in 9.5 minutes time? We saw it in the early part of Weston Workman's career in this championship, didn't we, Shay? With that purple car, was able to lead and battle at the front, but quite often in the last couple of laps, he would be outthought, or, I know this is not really a proper thing to say, but out-experienced by the guys behind him. This new crop of rookies, however, seem to be coming through with a built-in confidence and experience that belies the amount of races they've done.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned Weston Workman, because he actually won here at CTMP in this championship a couple of years ago. Put on a stellar performance that day, but we have had a shift, and last year we had a rookie victorious at Mid-Ohio. That would have been our 6th race of the season then. This year, or 8th race of the season, might have been 6th, but this year we could, in our 7th race of the season, have a rookie victorious here. In his first race with a new team, Ethan Lampy, who has been a SMX national champion in the runoffs back in 2024 in his first try, SMX national champion win in 2025, champion for SMX in that same year with 8 wins and 9 starts. Ethan Lampy came to the shootout last year, 2 years ago, as a matter of fact, finished 3rd. Last year it was so impressive. He walked away with the 2nd place prize and the sponsorship from not only Whelen, but Sunoco. He is a very impressive young man, and he is showing us right now, this weekend, what happens when everything is right, and he feels good. He is glowing, John. Fresh off of his first trip abroad, he got to go to Le Mans.
Always a good place to go and gather yourself and put things in perspective. Nice dive down the inside by Justin Adakonis. There's a fine line that has to be trodden by Justin here in the McCumbee McAleer Racing blue and yellow car. He leads the championship. Obviously he wants to pocket as many points as possible, as he's just gone past the black car of Bobby Gossett. We know that's a quick car from BSI. What Justin cannot afford to do is end up in the barriers or facing backwards. That would not do his championship challenge any good at all. Jared Thomas, if anything, pushing Ethan Lampert further away. I reckon there's 3/4 of a second maybe between them and Jeremy Fletcher, who all of a sudden is isolated in 3rd position. Bobby Gossett comes down the inside at the end of the S's through turn 9 into White's corner, the final right-hander that will bring them back onto the front straight. And the top 9 now, down to Julian DaCosta, have broken away, and there's a gap then of just over a second, but that's a gap in this racing. 1.1 seconds back to Cam Eben, who leads the chasing pack for Advanced Autosport in the number 55 car. Not quite go time yet, but we're not far away. And in fact, actually, Jared Thomas has just lost touch with the leader for a moment, as Marcello Panicia goes down the inside in that white car. Well, he wasn't faced by getting very squirrely there 2 or 3 laps ago. He's just pulled off a great move and puts Bobby Gossett 1 place back.
This is Marcello Panicia's home track, John. He wants to do the best job that he can at a top 5, bare minimum. When I talked to him earlier today, I said, hey, let's aim for a top 10. As wow, Elio Meza off the track and into the barriers at the hand of Julian DaCosta, his teammate. That was a bit rough. Come on, Elio, let's see if we can get the car turned around and moving again. He's not here this weekend to try and take championship points off of anyone. He was here strictly to try and get a win. It's not going to be a win in today's race, but that's no fault of Elio Meza's. Let's get another look at this and see if it was Julian DaCosta in the Lightning McQueen car. Yep, Julian dove down the inside at 5B, tried to get into Parker DeLong, and instead took out his teammate. Oh, that is heartbreaking for BSI.
Elio Meza with damage to the left front. I think Parker DeLong took a little bit as well of that incident, just a little brush on the right rear. We've stayed green as we under 5 minutes now, so that's 3 laps potentially. And still the rookie Ethan Lampert leading. He's led the bulk of this. He'll get the extra points in the championship for leading the most lap, the fastest lap points. Parker DeLong at the moment holds that now in 7th position. That little contretemps has pushed John Salerno up into the top 10. 9th for Cam Eben. And now Julian DaCosta is at the back of the lead pack, and he's lifted off a little bit, so he's dropped back. I reckon now Parker DeLong is the driver holding on to the lead pack, and even he's dropped away. It's 3 pairs of 2 trying to make a 6. The half dozen, perhaps. Lampy, Thomas, Fletcher, Adakonis, Panicia, and then Gossett. Those are your top 6 at the moment, and they're all working hard together. Justin Adakonis and Jeremy Fletcher desperately trying to get back to the 2 leaders, and they are getting there. Into turn 8, they're almost onto the back. And DaCosta has been given the drive-through in the 95 car. Julian for BSI Racing will drop out of 8th position. Three minutes to go, Shea Adam. Do you want to be right at the front as Ethan Lampy, the rookie, being chased by Jared Thomas, Jeremy Fletcher, Justin Adakonis? I mean, that's Whelen Mazda MX-5 Cup royalty that is sitting in behind you. And Ethan Lampy is holding on to this lead. The pressure must be absolutely incredible, and also a problem for Max Stallone for Wheels America Racing. Just past the start-finish line, he might get the car pulled off to the right-hand side. We're staying green at the moment. Is that a safe enough place for him to be? If you're going to make a pass, you're going to have to make it now, just in case. And the top 6 all together again, with Parker DeLong trying to get on the back of them as they come out of Moss Corner. 2.5 to go, Shay.
What a run from Jared Thomas at 5B as well. He had so much speed, and rather than pull out and try and make the pass early on in the run up the Andretti Straight, he decided to tuck in behind and push Ethan Lampy a little bit longer. Let's remember, Jared Thomas has won this championship 2 times before, but it has also been more than a year since he has won a race. St. Pete race number 1 was the last time that the 96 was in victory lane. He is thinking bigger picture right now as Jeremy Fletcher goes around and knocks into the back of Jared Thomas, and now they are facing each other on the racetrack. Jeremy dropping significantly far down, but it's much worse for Jared as he now sees Matt Novak drive past him. That was cruel and unnecessary for Jared Thomas to end his race like that, as Ethan Lampy is out front and now does not have the pressure of the championship winner staring behind him.
And fair play to Max Stallone, who's rolled his car backwards down the hill, and he's behind the wall. There was contact there between Jeremy Fletcher and Jared Thomas, and Jared did a great job to let the car roll away to make sure that nobody picked him up. I think that will be looked at. And again, Max Stallone, I salute you. Chapeau, young man,
yep,
for letting your car roll back behind the wall and pit lane. It's quite a wide pit lane exit, and it's not as if anybody's going to make a pit stop, so he's not inconveniencing anybody there. I think we're going to get the white flag next time around. Ethan Lampe has pulled out a couple of seconds here with the schmozzle that's gone on behind him, and someone's lost a wheel and tyre at Moss Corner. That's not something you see every day. It's been catching on some bodywork, because I can see a rubbing mark there, and the tyre has made it back onto the far side. Is it going to roll down the hill and out of the way, or is it just going to sit and wait there? Never a good day when different parts of the car are doing different lap times. It's just going to sit there, isn't it? We are on the white flag lap, 2.5 miles, 3.9 kilometres, and at the front of the field, Ethan Lampe leads him by 1.6 seconds. Bobby Gossett, who lost his fastest laps from qualifying, had to start way down. He's worked his way back up into second place ahead of Justin Adakonis, but surely now, even if the yellow flag comes out, we couldn't get restarted. The battle is for second, and it's full course yellow, because the lead is coming to that incident. So it is a frozen field, and Bobby Gossett made the pass just in time, and I think that's going to be Marcello Panici in third place. Yes, it is, ahead of championship leader Adakonis, and Parker DeLong with the fastest lap will finish fourth, as the tyre has parked itself. You could not have parked that right in front of that. That's slightly downhill there, Shea. I would have put any money you like on that tyre not staying there, and it stays there. Nobody was going to catch Ethan Lampe, but the battle for second was mouth-wateringly good.
Oh my goodness.
And it's going to go to Bobby Gossett. Wow, wow. Start doing some arithmetic.
Yes, sorry, I completely forgot about that part of things, because what a day for Bobby Gossett. He had the fastest car in qualifying, had the lap time disallowed, and then fought like a soldier to get back up to that P2. Excellent job from Bobby Gossett, who still is recovering from losing a couple of points the last time out of Mid-Ohio. This will help his championship. This was a very good day for Bobby Gossett, but it was an even better day for the rookie, Ethan Lampe, getting his first official podium in the series. And John, it's straight to the top step.
Well, if you're going to stand on a podium and make it your first time, you might as well be on the top of the box. That is a very, very happy Hendricks Motorsport driver, and actually almost right at the back of the intervention vehicle there, because he was so busy celebrating. Deserves every moment of it. The Whelen and Sunoco sponsored car. It was Jeremy Fletcher who lost the wheel and tyre. That, I have to say, I didn't pick up, so my apologies. I saw the wheel and tyre. Again, fair play to the driver, Jeremy Fletcher. He pulled off and got his car out of the way. If the wheel and tyre had fallen over on the grass, we would have stayed green. Between him and Max Stallone, they did an excellent job of trying not to inconvenience the rest of the runners. Unofficially then, the results after 45 minutes, actually about 46.5 minutes, and 28 laps completed, we'll see Ethan Lampe win it. Oh my goodness, that was coming right into the braking area and just through the first part of turn 5, Moss Corner, and the wheel must have gone off all the way to the left, bounced off its friends on the tyre wall, ran across the grass, and then pulled up in the middle of the track. It's being picked up by a CTMP safety team. Let's quickly run through the top finishes, and then Shea can give us unofficially the points. It will be Hendricks Motorsport, Ethan Lampe, who stands on the top step of the podium from Bobby Gossett. What a redemption race that was for him. Marcello Panici. Is that Marcello's first podium? I think it is.
It is.
Justin Adakonis in 4th, Parker DeLong in 5th, Noah Harmon in 6th, Cam Eben in 7th, John Salerno in 8th, Frankie Barroso in 9th, and Ethan Jacobs in 10th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rookies in the top 10. Unofficial results there that we have run through for you. Ethan Lampert was not going to be caught, I have to say, but I was really looking forward to that battle for second. Bobby Gossett nicked it just before the yellow flag came out. Beyond the 10th position, Vaughan Mishko, Glenn McGee, Justin Gravitt, Logan Stretch, Jared Thomas, Ellie Gossett, Christian Hoddenland, Massino Sanseri, who also lost 2 lap times and fought back to 18th, Charlotte Trainer, Ryan Leach, Aidan Shimbashi, who I think got a penalty, didn't he? Julian DaCosta, Damon Oki, who might have improved his grid position for tomorrow because of his lap time. Brian Dombrowski, Nathan Nicholson with issues, Matt Novak and Elio Meza all with issues. No finish for Jeremy Fletcher. He scored in 28th. Max Stallone started in 29th. Carlton McFarlane in 30th. And Gresham Wagner barely got started. Unofficial points after race 1 at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Shea Adams done the arithmetic.
It is still Justin Adakonis who has the championship lead. He has 18-10 points halfway through this championship. We have now done 7 of 14 races. In second, Bobby Gossett moves up a position. He came in 3rd in the championship, but he is about 220 points behind the championship lead, so only 30 points lost on the day for our friend Justin Adakonis. In 3rd, it is Jared Thomas, 1440 for him. A further 30 points back, we have a tie for 4th. It is both Jacobs and Barroso, 2 rookies in 4th position, 14-10, so 400 points off the championship lead for the 2 of them. And then a bigger gap back to a slew of drivers, 1190, 1180, 1170, and finally 1120. And that would be for this man, for Ethan Lampy, our race winner today, finally getting to the podium, and it is for a win.
So leading the rookie championship will be Jacobs and Barroso then, as they are tied.
Correct.
Frankie coming home in 9th position today after a fighting run in the midfield. I mean, we can't even show you everything that's going on in the midfield. Hendricks Motorsport take the victory. All kinds of celebrations will be coming. A sweet first victory that he earned the hard way, with multiple champions, with race winners, with pole sitters breathing down his exhaust pipe. Not only did he lead them home, but he did not crack under pressure. Gresham Wagner didn't make the second lap, and that is going to hurt his championship. Shea Adam was alongside me, John Hindorf, and the best news is we do it all again tomorrow. Join us again at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park.